Hello guys and welcome back to episode 6 of our EAFC 25 career mode. We're returning today by seeing, unfortunately, we did get knocked out in the semi-finals of the youth tournament. First time that we've not won it, but still some great development on our young players. We also see we've got a bid for Jan Bednarek, which we'll get to in a moment. But if we take a look at the standings, you can see we're just about above the relegation zone. 7 points clear of Bournemouth at the moment, but in 15th place in a pretty poor run of form at the moment and the league's lowest scorers. But loads to get into today. I really want to crack on and get 8 or 9 games done, as I've now got the full version of the game. Starting off though with this bid from Villarreal for Jan Bednarek. He's a pretty solid central defender. Obviously, we've already lost Bella Kotchap, so I don't really want to let another of our centre-backs go. So he will be staying here at least until the end of the season. Let's dive straight into our first game of the episode. It's a tough one. Manchester United currently sat in second place and competing for the Premier League title. Not the sort of game that I'm expecting it to pick up any points, but looking to kick off the episode with a positive. Come on, you Saints. So you probably would have seen from my lineup a bit of a shock, but I've gone for the young man Connor Cox from the off. He's had a couple of appearances in the Premier League, but this his first start. And my thinking behind it is, obviously, our top goal scorer, Adam Armstrong, is down injured at the moment. We can't score anyway. We had to rely on substitute left-back Dennis Shirkin for the win against Brentford. It took a penalty shootout to beat Borough in the Cup. We're really struggling in front of the goal. League's lowest scorers by some way. Why not give the kid a chance? If no one else can do it, let's just give him a chance. I'm not expecting to win this one anyway, so there's no harm in chucking him in. The main thing for me is just how long can we keep United out? Because as soon as that first goal goes in, it's pretty much game over. Well, Southampton have survived the first 45 minutes. It's kind of the story of our season so far. Generally, we've defended pretty well. Yes, we've taken a few absolute beatings, but in the whole, we've defended okay throughout the course of the season, but just cannot put the ball in the net. Oh, no, that's terrible. No, Depay, oh, he's laid it off to Rashford. And United are going to win it late on. It's a terrible pass out from the back. KWP, the captain, gives it away, but it wasn't where I was trying to play it. I just wanted a little pass inside. Depay could have finished himself. Instead, lays it off to Rashford. And United have the late lead, and that's probably going to do it. And there's Manning. Can he work the space for a cross or find Aribo on the edge? Aribo shoots. And Lisandro Martinez is in the way, and United will win it late. It was the only real chance that we had, that little bit of pressure at the end, but United comfortable defensively. I said it was just a case of how long we could keep them out for, and we nearly kept them out for 90. Rashford wins it with 10 to play, and that is enough for United to take all 3 points as they continue their pursuit for the title. Well, not the result we were after. Huge bit of transfer news there as well, as Rashford, just a few days after scoring that winner, joins up with his England colleague Harry Kane at Bayern Munich. We have a couple of transfer offers ourselves. Ronnie Edwards loaned to buy. He's not actually on the loan list, but I wouldn't necessarily be against loaning him out. Maybe just until the end of the season. We've had a really cool loan bid from Shrewsbury Town for Connor Cox, but I have a feeling this isn't actually going to go through. You can see the wages. You can't actually see the wages, but he's on like 15 grand a week at 16 years of age. So I think actually loaning our players out is going to be really difficult. Also a bid here for James Bree. We turned one down in the summer, but he's hardly played at all. Ipswich Town, who are fighting to try and stay in the division, looking for a bit more experience and potentially a player to lead them if they do head back down to the Championship. I'm all right with that one, you know. James Bree heading to Ipswich. Well, jumping straight into our next one, as Ipswich get another point on the board, means the gap is just 6 now, although they do host Manchester City at Portman Road, where I'm not expecting them to pick up any points. We face Nottingham Forest away at the City Ground in a game that I'm certainly looking to get some points on the board. They're having a pretty decent season, up in 11th place, but they're only 4 points above us. It's so congested in this middle of the pack. So yeah, as I say, definitely the sort of game we need to be eyeing a return to winning ways. Just struggling to put the ball in the back of the net. Massive clash here away in Nottingham. Come on, you Saints. Well, Cameron Archer back in the starting lineup today for this one, hoping he can have the impact with Matheus Fernandes in behind him. Huge game this. And some interesting players lining up for Forest. You may have seen it on the left-hand side. Mykhailo Mudryk. Not sure if it's a loan from Chelsea. I don't believe it would be a permanent, but with the transfer market in FC, you just never know. As Brereton Diaz goes close, that's a positive start from the Saints, as I'm desperate to get us back to winning ways. Space for Mudryk, and Gibbs-White finds Awoniyi, and Mudryk again. Dangerous attack this, and Taylor does well, then overruns it, and Jota looks to swipe through. Awoniyi is held up on the grass in the rain, and Aaron Ramsdale denies him. Mudryk screaming for the pass to his left. Sulemana flicks on. Archer, Fernandes, and Brereton Diaz again denied by Matt Sells for the second time. Poor throw that from Forest. Gave the ball away in a really dangerous area as Sugawara goes on. There's Sulemana. Archer's in the middle. It's not going to reach him. It will reach Matheus Fernandes on the edge. And again, it's Matt Sells in the way, denying us for the third time in this opening half an hour. Sulemana floats the cross in for Brereton Diaz. Well defended by Vanderson. And there's Cameron Archer. And it's the first chance for our number 19, and he flashes it wide of the post. And that looked like a half-decent chance there, as it was nodded down to him, but he couldn't hit the target. And again at the break, we're deadlocked at 0-0. We just cannot put the ball in the net. Here's Gibbs-White for Forest. Nice turn. Gibbs-White looks for Mudryk through the gap, and that's a big save by Aaron Ramsdale into the final few moments of the game. There's Gruev stepping forward, and Brereton Diaz in the little pocket out to KWP. There's Archer, and it's into Stewart on the turn. Stewart shoots, and it's just wide, and that will probably be the final chance of the game. I haven't really got on with Ross Stewart this season, but with injuries and fatigue, had to give him the chance today, and that's probably the best opportunity we've created in the first 2 games of the episode. Wasn't to be though, and we will have to settle for the point. Well, not exactly the result we wanted there, but it is another point on the board that moves us slightly further away from that bottom 3. We've got a message here from Jack Stevens, and for the second time this season, we've got a want away. I mean, we've just offered him a new contract, which is really annoying. So I think I'm actually going to keep him until at least the end of this season. He is on the important squad role, so I guess it kind of makes sense. He's only featured 11 times in the Premier League, so he's played 50% of our Premier League games. But he's just signed a brand new deal, so I'm going to keep him here until the summer. Well, bit of movement here in the transfer window as we see James Bree depart to Ipswich Town. And there is the deal for, is that Ronnie Edwards? Yes, heading out to Ajax for 6 months. Again, probably not going to feature too much, so we might as well see if we can get him a bit of an overall boost in his development. As big news here is Jeremy Frimpong has moved to Arsenal. I think I saw it was £80 million on a 4-year contract, so a big move for the Gunners. I think I'm just going to jump into our next game here. Decent point on the road in the previous one. Now travelling back to St Mary's to take on Newcastle United. They're sat in 9th place at the moment, so they're not having the greatest of seasons. Back at home, this is a game where I'm potentially targeting at least a point. Again, we've been good defensively. We just need to put the ball in the back of the net. By far the lowest scorers in the league. Looking to keep ourselves clear of that relegation zone. Final game of January. Come on, you Saints. Newcastle not having the greatest of seasons, but it's a fantastic team that they've got. And we've been very good defensively, but I wouldn't be too surprised if they are able to breach our backline today, just due to how good that defence, how good the attack is from Newcastle. As Almiron dives in, is that going to be just an early booking? Potentially a red? I don't think so. Southampton crowd calling for a red, and it's just a yellow for Miggy. Well, into the second half here, and again we made it to the halfway stage. Still deadlocked at 0-0. So we're being competitive in games. Just don't have that cutting edge to turn those draws into wins, as Sulemana does well down the left. KWP gets around him. And Walker-Peters from a tight angle looked to beat Nick Pope. And the Englishman had to be equal to it. Lallana will swing the corner in. It's not a bad ball, looking for Brereton Diaz. And his header is comfortable this time for Nick Pope. Just need that cutting edge to put the ball in the back of the net. And Sulemana has gone, and Sulemana's on his bike. And Cameldean's in behind. Has he got the finish? Sulemana! Just his second Premier League goal of the season. It's a beautiful little move down the right-hand side. And Cameldean gives Southampton the lead. That could be a huge, huge win if we're able to hold on to it. I said we've been solid defensively. We just need that finishing touch. And Sulemana has provided it. What a huge goal. Last few minutes for Newcastle. Gordon looking to burst through the lines, and brilliant little tactical foul there by Flynn Downs. And he'll go into the book. But I don't think he's going to care. That's the new tactical foul feature for those that haven't seen it. Bringing down his man. And that will hopefully be enough as Bednarek clears. There's that whistle, Mr. Referee. Isak. And no. No. No, I don't believe it. Alexander Isak. Right at the death. And we couldn't hold on for the victory. And this has just been the story of our season. We just can't see it out. So many draws. And I just couldn't clear the ball with Nathan Wood. Panicking to try and get a block in. And Isak drills past Aaron Ramsdale. And again, it's going to be no win for the Saints. We just cannot put a string of wins together. Decent point against Newcastle, but that really should have been all three. So disappointing. That huge fixture to come in a week's time as we travel to Portman Road to take on Ipswich. But before we get there, we're going to have the rest of the transfer window. Archer and Fernandez happy with their game time, which is great to see. I mean, we have got a few offers here, two for Jack Stevens, but as I said, I want to keep him here until at least the end of the season. Same thing with Ryan Manning. He's not played a huge amount because he's third choice left back, but I want to keep him here until at least the end of the season. As for Cox, we've had another loan offer, this time from Notts County, but I know it's just going to be rejected. Whether I delegate or whether I negotiate directly, I just know it's going to be rejected. Whereas we head into transfer deadline day, I definitely think the last few games are evidence that we need a new striker. And I'm going to stick to a similar sort of philosophy that I used during our Sheffield United save last year by signing an experienced Premier League striker. I've got a few names on the list. Danny Ings, who was the man we picked up last year on FC24, who fired us to safety with the Blades. I've got Chris Wood, who's a different option at Nottingham Forest. Of course, nowhere near as quick, but a big, tall presence at the top of the pitch. Raul Jimenez, again, a similar player to Chris Wood. Not the quickest, but a deadly finisher if you get him in front of goal. We've got Danny Welbeck, who a lot of people will know. He's been around the Premier League for years, Manchester United, Arsenal, and still banging in goals for Brighton now. And the final player is Michail Antonio of West Ham. Of course, they signed Nicholas Füllkrug in the summer. They've got Jared Bowen, who can play up top, Mohamed Kudus as well. At 34 years of age, he is the joint oldest with Danny Welbeck. But I think I am looking between these two. And Antonio, he's such a big presence at the top of the pitch. He's great in the air. He's powerful. He's got a little bit of pace about him. And he knows where the back of the net is if you can get him in front of goal. But I think he is the man I'm going to go after to try and solve our goal scoring problems. Well, there he is. Michail Antonio is a saint. He's in from the Hammers, West Ham United. And I'm not going to sit and watch the whole intro scene. But there he is. Transfer deadline day signing. 6.25 million. We had loads of money in the bank, so I'm not too worried. They said we could have got him for as low as 2.4. But yeah, he's not going to be a long-term replacement for Adam Armstrong or Cameron Archer, but he does just fill a gap for the remainder of the season with Onuachu and Stewart not really doing it for me. So Antonio is in. I'd still really like to get Connor Cox out on loan, but that doesn't look as if it's going to happen. So this looks as if it's going to be the squad for the remainder of the season. With Adam Armstrong still down for a few more months, we're relying on Michail Antonio to be our source of goals. Well, that is going to do it for transfer deadline day as we skip through the final hour. Quite a quiet one, obviously Antonio coming in. But we're straight into match day in February, and this is a huge one. Ipswich Town away at Portman Road. We're currently 8 points clear of them, so we have got a nice little gap starting to build up. And Bournemouth, Ipswich and Leicester have just really struggled all season long. So a big win here will be huge. That will pull us away from the bottom three. If it's Ipswich who get the 3 points, it's going to drag us straight back down into it. Huge game away at Portman Road. Come on, you Saints. Well, cold, snowy conditions here at Portman Road, and we're calling on the Jamaican Michail Antonio to be our saviour in this second half of the campaign. I have to say, I'm feeling pretty confident that we will stay up because we've done enough to pick up points here and there, and it will take a bit of a collapse considering how poor the bottom three have been. But, you know, there's still a long way to go. A lot can change, and if Ipswich do get the 3 points here, it's certainly going to drag us back down into that relegation scrap. As here goes Antonio looking to bulldoze his way through. Well, once again, for the 4th time in 4 games this episode, we're deadlocked at the break at 0-0. We're yet to win a game so far this episode, so we're hoping today is the day, as that's struck from a long way out and comfortable for Ramsdale. It's been a pretty poor game, I won't lie, as have a lot of our games this season. Not had much drama. Holding the ball up nicely and finds Jack Clark and Sammy Simodics, and Sammy finds Delap. And Ipswich looking for a winner, and Liam Delap may have just found it for the Tractor Boys. And I said if we lose today, it pulls us right back into that relegation scrap. And with 10 to play, it looks like we may be falling to defeat. Liam Delap with the opener, and Ipswich close to a huge victory here at Portman Road. Southampton falling to defeat here at Portman Road, and that is a huge result for the Tractor Boys. And Southampton just cannot buy a win in the Premier League. This was the game that should have been a bit of a banker. Yes, we're away from home, but against a struggling Ipswich side, and we've come up short, and that is going to leave us in a very precarious position in the Premier League. Oh, well, guys, thank the Lord for this. A bit of positive news off the pitch as we have agreed a loan for Connor Cox. It's to Shamrock Rovers, so a bit of a strange loan. A 2-year loan starting on the 1st of January. So that, to be fair, means that he won't be returning mid-season in 2 years' time. He'll be back at the beginning of the season. But Connor Cox will be heading out on loan at the beginning of next year. We've also got where are we, an academy update, so let's see if we found any more players from, it's not actually Ireland yet, we've got to wait a few more days, but England and Cyprus. Let's see if there's anyone decent. Well, I have to say there's a few lads here already. Alexander Lawson as a CDM looks pretty solid already, 48 to 64 overall. with 72 to 94 potential. And Benjamin Hooper as well, another right winger from England. Quite a few players here from Cyprus as well. Let's see if anyone jumps out at us. These two have really good starting overalls, but the potentials aren't great. And I think for the rest of these guys, yeah, nothing great from Cyprus this month. Well, just having a look at the academy here, we look as if we've got some real gems. They're all just so young. Matthew Hodgson looks very good, just 14 years of age, 90 to 94 potential, and still potentially growing as well by the looks of that. So he looks fantastic. Lewis Turner also looking very good, a few years older, 84 to 94. We've got a really good young Scottish goalkeeper here, Shane Malcolm, 86 to 94 potential. And this lad, Harris, 14 years of age, so we're not going to see him for at least another 2 years, but 90 to 94 potential. So at least if things aren't going too great on the pitch, it's looking very promising for the future, as we know Southampton have a rich history of producing youth academy players. Jumping into our next game, it's the FA Cup 4th round away at Derby at Pride Park, and this is the sort of game that we need to get a scratch, get a win on the board, and then hopefully carry that form into the Premier League. Plenty of changes as always, as the Cups are a very low priority at the moment, but a big chance here to return to winning ways, which is much needed. Come on, you Saints. Fraser will whip the corner in, looking for Leslie, and it's over the top. And we are definitely heading for extra time. And as I say, probably, as we saw in the previous round, another shootout. We can't keep going through on penalty shootouts because we can't put the ball in the net. Can we win it late? Fraser to Gruev, Aribo, and Fraser. And looking for Archer. Did he time his run? Archer finds Joe Aribo, and it's a huge block. And we will be heading for a penalty shootout. James Collins up first for Derby. Bazunu goes the right way, but cannot get there. How many times do you hear that as Ryan Fraser is first up for the Saints and does score? Adams next for Derby. And again, Bazunu goes the right way, but just cannot get there. Joe Aribo. Oh, didn't feel confident once I'd hit that power, but he does find the back of the net. Mendes Lang, again for the 3rd time. We've gone the right way, but not got gloves on it. Manning, the fullback, sends the keeper the wrong way. 3 apiece as Goodman sends Bazunu the wrong way this time. Decent pen. And Cameron Archer must score to level things up. Archer, oh, off the post and in. And Ilkan. And Bazunu dives on it. Oh my goodness, we've got a chance to win it. Kamaldeen Sulemana. Good power. Sulemana sends us into the 5th round. And Southampton have to do it on penalties again. It's our 4th shootout of the season. And I think we've only played 5 cup games. That's incredible. Well, another huge clash to come next in the Premier League as we host 19th place Bournemouth. That is another huge game, as Ipswich looking to try and pull off the unthinkable and keep themselves in the top flight. As for the FA Cup, in the 5th round, we will be taking on Everton away from home. So, to be honest, I'm not feeling too confident taking on a Premier League side. Quite a few of the big boys already knocked out, as we often see in career mode. But it's Everton away at Goodison Park, and I just don't see any way we get through a Premier League side. Well, guys, I think this has to be a record. It's every game so far today. We've gone into the second half deadlocked at 0-0. I'm pretty sure it's every single game. But here goes Brereton Diaz looking for Antonio. Couldn't quite pick him out. Antonio has it again, and it just sums up our attacking play. Archer nicks it. Look at Antonio. Antonio! Oh, what a way to score your first goal for your new club. What a huge goal. And the Cherries have thrown it away late. Huge celebrations in the stands and on the pitch as I'm running onto the pitch to celebrate with the players. Antonio races away and he's got the finish to give the Saints the lead. And that is a huge victory for us. We needed that. Antonio with his first goal for the club, and what a time to get it. Yeah, I mean, it sounds ridiculous saying 30 points being enough, but you think Ipswich would need another 4 victories to get to 31 points. Bournemouth would need probably another 5, and they've only won 3 and 4 games this season respectively, so in the final 13 games it's not too ridiculous to say that 30 points could be enough. Ipswich showing signs of now level on points with Brentford, and then there is a bit of a gap to Brighton in 16th. They are our next opponents, coming to take us on once again at St Mary's. We're now off back-to-back victories in both competitions, and a win here to take us to 30 points would put us in a ridiculously good position with 12 games to play. Let's dive straight into it. Brighton at home at St Mary's. Can we make it? Back-to-back wins in the Premier League for, I think it might be the first time all season long, or maybe since the very start of the campaign. Huge game. Come on, you Saints. Well, that's going to do it here at St Mary's. Another really poor game. But at this point of the season, I will take the extra point on the board. That's 3 games now without a defeat in all competitions. Back-to-back games in the Premier League without losing, which is a pretty good streak for us. We couldn't make it back-to-back victories for just the second time this campaign, but as I say, another point on the board and I will certainly take it. I think we'll close out today's episode with one more as we take on high-flying Chelsea, who battered us here by 4 goals to 1. Well, as Ipswich get another credible point on the board at home to Tottenham, they're giving themselves a fighting chance. Just need to convert some of those draws into wins. I would love to see them stay up. As for us, we're now 8 points clear of the drop zone with 12 games to play. Travelling to Stamford Bridge here to close out the episode. I'm not expecting to get anything out of this, but after what's been one of our best runs of form of the season, with no defeats in 3 in all competitions, if we can scrape a point, it will be a very solid point. Let's see if we can close out the episode on a positive. Come on, you Saints. Yeah, my team Chelsea, of course, gave us a bit of a thumping earlier on in the season at St Mary's as Sulemana gets there, and that's Fernandez looking for Brereton Diaz, and we couldn't quite work it into the middle. But yeah, they gave us a bit of a thumping at St Mary's. I think it's our biggest defeat of the season, that 4-1 loss earlier on in the campaign. And I'm sure they'll be looking for a similar scoreline here today. As Flynn Downs, oh, it's not an early booking, it's an early red, and not for the first time this season, a straight red inside the opening 10 minutes of a game. Sugawara was sent off at the Vitality early on, and now Flynn Downs, a straight red for a strong tackle on Caicedo. And, well, our task has just got even harder than it already was. Into the second half, and well, this game has been pretty quiet, as have the rest of the games this episode, but this one's actually down to the way that we're playing. Normally I'm trying to play attacking football and go for goals. In this one, we are simply saying to Chelsea, come and break us down. Well, we have conceded some late goals, especially to the big boys. You think back to the beginning of the episode against Man United. I think back to the Liverpool game at St Mary's when Luis Diaz won it late on. And we're just a few minutes away from clinching the point here at the bridge, as we are all hands on deck, just trying to hold on to this point. Into the 90th minute, Cole Palmer, can he be the man for Chelsea once again? Palmer finds Nkunku, strike from range. Oh, I don't believe that. And it's Christopher Nkunku, it's always him. And it's going to be heartbreak to end the episode. I thought, I don't mind him shooting from there. He's a reasonable way out, so I didn't put him under too much pressure. And he just absolutely belts it into the back of the net. You can see me here just sort of jockeying with Taylor and not giving him a clear route through, but it's a brilliant strike into the side netting, and the Frenchman, who always scores against me in FC, does so once again and gives Chelsea the win. Well, gutting to throw away the point so late on. I was just saying about the games against the big teams where we have lost them late on. We had our own late winner though earlier on in the episode against Bournemouth, and that is the most important one. We're currently 11 points clear of them. 8 clear of Ipswich, sat in 15th place. I honestly think with 11 to play, we've done enough to secure safety for next season. Of course, our future does still hang in the balance, and a couple of poor results could see that gap closed if the likes of Ipswich and Bournemouth start stringing some wins together. But we're 8 clear of the drop zone with 11 to play. We will play through the majority of those in the next episode, as well as the FA Cup 5th round tie away at Goodison Park to take on Sean Dyche's Toffees. I hope you have enjoyed today, guys. I apologise for the lack of goals and exciting games, but it's getting very, very intense down at the bottom of the table. I'll catch you for the next episode very soon. Take care and peace.